Aloha! Welcome to the Live Ukulele Podcast. My name is Brad Bordessa. Thank you for tuning in. This episode, I'm going to celebrate the launch of my new video course called Hawaiian Songs For Ukulele. It's pretty much just what you would expect it to be from the title. It is pretty self-explanatory. No tricks or smoke and mirrors here. As you're listening, if you decide you like the Live Ukulele podcast, please hit subscribe on whatever podcasting platform you choose to consume podcasts on. Leave a review if you're so inclined. And for sure, keep an eye on liveukulele.com. There's lots of free resources over there. There's also my premium offerings, including this new video course, which I'll be talking about and sharing about today, along with some of the mindset behind Hawaiian music and how I teach and why I decided to put all of this together. Even if you're not interested in the course, hopefully the podcast will be insightful with some different things. Let's get right into it. So the course covers 5 classic Hawaiian songs. These are not super famous Hawaiian songs, but they're well known. And if you were to play them at a Hawaiian gathering or something, people would recognize most of them, I think. They're all old songs. I chose public domain songs, so I wouldn't have to deal with licensing or making sure that I get money to the right people. Just straightforward old songs, and they're super iconic. You know, all of them have places in Hawaiian music history where somebody has recorded these songs and it's been like, wow, that's really a thing. And that's really, you know, one of these songs that kind of everybody knows or has heard played before. And they're all beautiful, right? Of course, I wanted to select songs that would be interesting for people to learn and immediately relatable, even if you aren't familiar with the song before this. When you hear it for the first time, I hope that it captures your heart and you can go, oh, wow, this is lovely. I want to learn this even if I am not familiar with the song. The tunes that I chose are Nani Ka'ala, which is a song about, it's kind of an Oahu song about the Ka'ala mountain, and it's like a place song. You go for a little journey throughout the song and move along mainly the east side of Oahu. And then there's Aloha Ka Manini, which is a song about different kinds of fish here in Hawaii, a song with some kauna. Then Ahelau Makani, which is one of the Queen's famous pieces. It's a waltz, and it just has a really beautiful soaring melody that is completely timeless. Uanohoawa Kupa, which is sort of a kind of a slack key standard kind of a song. It's one of those, it's probably the most obscure, but everybody knows it kind of song out of the 5. And then finally there is He Hawaii'Pio, written by Sam Li'a, who wrote Hi'ilave, and it's another song about Waipio Valley, which is just a handful of miles from me as the crow flies. And so through each of these songs, I kind of laid out a framework for teaching them all. And to keep things consistent, they all follow the same format as we dive into learning them. So I'll kind of walk you through what I've got going there. So there's the first video is kind of a brief overview, and then we talk about how to pick the vocal melody as a lead part on the ukulele. So this would be great for intermediate or beginner players. You can just start picking the lead, and there is a lead sheet transcription that goes along with every song. There is only one, it's just a lead sheet, so it shows how to pick the melody and then the chords that go with that. After the melody, the next video for each song is about strumming and what the chord progression is, kind of the chord structure of the song, so you understand like the chunks that go together, and then also a little bit about maybe a strumming pattern to use with the song. And then we'll see what the interest level of this is, but I thought it was important to include a section on pronouncing the Hawaiian lyrics, because I know that a lot of folks aren't who are going to be interested in this course, they're not in Hawaii. They don't have a background in the Hawaiian language. But to execute a Hawaiian song properly, you want to be able to pronounce it right, to make sure that you're saying the correct meanings for each of these songs so that the message of the song comes through. And I'm not fluent in Hawaiian. I'm the first guy who will tell you that, I'm not any kind of expert on this, but I did 3 semesters of Olelo Hawaii in college, and I have continued to study here and there with different things. And I have a basic understanding of, the base meanings and certainly how to pronounce things. And so I share this. We go off kind of in the weeds, and I walk you through how to pronounce the entirety of the lyrics for each song. And so if you're only interested in the chords and how to strum, you can just watch the first part of the video. And if you're interested in the Hawaiian language side of things, you can continue watching the video all the way to the end. Sometimes it's quite extensive because there's lots of words and lots of things to cover. But if you really want to be able to sing the songs well, I think it'll be super valuable and interesting, because a lot of times it's easy to just learn a song and not know what it's about or how it goes or what the words mean. And hopefully with some of the vocabulary we talk about and the proper pronunciation, you'll have a much better feel for the lyrics as you sing them. And I think that it makes it easier to project and to be confident in the song as you play it, instead of just like, oh, this word is so foreign to me, I don't know how to speak Hawaiian, it's all weird. Hopefully it's a little bit more familiar and you can really, really share it out with full potential and the confidence of knowing what it's actually about. After that, we get into the last 2 videos for each song, which are going to be a basic solo arrangement and then an advanced solo arrangement. And these are, personally, these are my favorite part of the course, because I think that it's going to be the sweet spot for a lot of people who are interested in playing these songs, but don't have a band or don't have a jam group they can take them to play the songs. So they're going to want to be able to play them solo by themselves. And so the solo arrangement is basically taking the melody that we already learned and the chords that we already learned and putting them together so that you can create the illusion of both happening at the same time. The basic lesson is going to just go over the basic chord shapes you need to strum a chord, but also capture the melody at the same time, because when you're playing a solo arrangement, you want to make sure that the melody note is always obvious to the listener. And so you try and keep the melody note as the highest sounding note at any given time. So if you strum a normal G7 chord, that highest note on the bottom string on the 2nd fret, that B note, that's going to be the note that your ear tends to hear. So if the melody is not a B note, you have to figure out how to reconfigure the chord, the harmony that the song is supposed to be playing over at that time, how you marry the melody note with a chord shape that represents the harmony. So it's a little bit of a puzzle, a little bit of a brain teaser. I think it's lots of fun. And I will walk you through how I would interpret the song, how I would tend to play a lot of these chord shapes, and we'll talk about that. When we get into the advanced lesson on the solo arrangement, we'll kind of build off of the basic arrangement, and I'll talk more about more right-hand styles where you can hold the harmony chord and pick the melody around it, and then add arpeggios and pedal bass notes with your right hand to kind of continue the sound of the harmony. And if you want to hear kind of what the solo arrangement might sound like once you're done with it, go check out liveukulele.com/store and click on the Hawaiian Songs for Ukulele card there, and it'll take you to the sales page where there is a video. If you scroll down, it's about halfway down the page. There's a video where I kind of have smashed together my playthrough demos of like how the song goes. And that kind of showcases what the solo arrangement might sound like. It's just a little snippet of each song, but you can kind of hear what the final product will be, depending on your skill level and how much time you decide to put into it. The solo arrangements, beyond being obviously interesting and attractive to a lot of folks, myself included. I think that's how I play ukulele, right? Because I'm just one guy. If I go to a gig, I'm not just going to stand up there and pick a melody. I'm going to play a solo arrangement so that I can carry the whole song as a one-man show. But I think the interesting about the solo arrangement section is because it is the most Hawaiian style part of the course and the lessons. It's when for each of these songs you get to that solo arrangement section. On the tab, I have explicitly written out the vocal melody. So you can read the tab, pick the melody. Great. There's also chords included on the lead sheet so that you can strum the chords and sing the melody if you want to sing, or you can just strum the chords and follow the timing. Great. That's explicitly laid out for you. When it comes to the solo arrangements, I consciously decided not to provide any kind of note-for-note transcription because I feel that if you want to play Hawaiian music and you're at a level where you want to play solo arrangements, that a little bit of the work should be on you, right? You can download tabs for days or watch tutorial videos for days that show you exactly note for note how to play something. And that's great for building repertoire. You will learn the song and then you can move on to the next song, learn another song, blah, 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 blah. But there are a lot of concepts and musical opportunities that you miss when you don't kind of think for yourself a little bit when it comes to putting a song together. To be clear, in the solo arrangement lessons, I show you how I would play it. I demonstrate it. I show you the chord shapes I hold. I show you the picking movements that I'm making. I show you how I would play it. But I also show you options and variations and make suggestions of all the different ways you could put it together. And at the end of the day, since there's no note-for-note transcription, you're going to have to learn it from the videos, from the lessons where I'm demonstrating this and showing this. And I know a lot of people might complain, like, well, if you have a set way that you're showing us how to play it, why didn't you just make a tab? And the reason is part of playing music Hawaiian style is internalizing a little bit of the Hawaiian lifestyle. And the Hawaiian music lifestyle revolves around Nana ka maka, ho'olohe ka pepeau, pa'akavaha, which means watch with your eyes, listen with your ears, shut the mouth. Basically, if you don't ask too many questions and you actually pay attention and you listen and you see, there's a lot to be learned from that. And you know, maybe if you've really tried your best to watch and learn and see what the heck is going on, then you ask a question. But a lot of times people jump into something where they start by asking questions instead of just seeing, like stopping, taking a breath, like, okay, what is happening? What can I observe? What can I learn myself without even needing to ask a question? That is kind of what I want to try and instill with these more advanced lessons. Is if you're an advanced player, you want to learn solo arranging, which you could argue is kind of an advanced or intermediate to advanced sort of a playing style, you should be able to watch a video, see how it goes, and play it yourself from that. And if you can't, it's a great opportunity to build musical skills where you learn to teach yourself in that way. And so that's sort of part of why I put it together in this way, but it's also my angle on presenting these Hawaiian songs. I didn't want to just give you the tabs for X number of Hawaiian songs. I want you to really get inside them and have to think about how they go together, think about how you want to express them, really get to know the songs, because I think that there's a tendency to really rush when you're learning, to move on to the next thing right away. And for me, that's not nearly as useful as really digging in and seeing all the things that you can discover inside of a song. And so by keeping the arrangements in kind of a intuitive world where you have to just watch and listen and figure it out and then play it yourself, I think that keeps it a lot more Hawaiian style, and you're going to have a lot more potential for success and in creating your own presentations of the song. Because the thing with that I think a lot of people don't realize, classical music, you sit down in the orchestra pit and they hand you a piece of paper and you play exactly what's on the paper, no questions asked. That is your job, right? Hawaiian music is a lot more like jazz in the sense that it's improvised a lot of times, and not necessarily like you have a solo in the middle of the song. In that sense, jazz is even more stiff than Hawaiian music, because Hawaiian music, it changes, it moves depending on how people are feeling things. You maybe play the same melody a couple times in a row. You know, you have one verse and then another verse. For each of those verses, if you're playing an instrumental on top of it, a solo arrangement or a slack key arrangement, whatever instrument you play in Hawaiian music, it might be different each time because you're feeling the music a little bit differently and you have the vocabulary to express yourself in that way. If you paint yourself into a corner and you only learn it one way, that's very static compared to the Hawaiian music that I'm used to hearing, right? If you listen to Hawaiian recordings, that's only in a certain small slice of the pie, because a lot of the Hawaiian music that I've experienced and that I think the joy of Hawaiian music comes from is backyard jams or kanikapilas. Those tend to be a lot looser and a lot more improvised. And I think that is part of the Hawaiian sound that people are attracted to. They hear that like, oh wow, they're just kind of freestyling, or wow, that's very beautiful. But there's decorations to it. Sometimes it's different. It moves a little bit. It changes. It's very dynamic. And that doesn't come from learning something exactly like the tab says. That comes from spending time with the song and trying different things and trying all the ways you could play it, even the ones you haven't thought of yet, right? The more times you run through the song, the more things you try, there's going to be more and more variations that you can play on that song as you go to express it. So that's what I wanted to present in these lessons. If I have captured your attention at this time and you want to go check it out, go to liveukulele.com. There's a banner right at the top of the page, Hawaiian Songs for Ukulele. Click on that and you'll go to the sales page where you can find out some more details about what's going on with the course, what you get, those kinds of things. This is the very beginning of the launch, and the launch price is going to be $39 for all 25 lessons and the 80 backing tracks and the 5 tab lead sheets. After the launch, the price is going to go back up to $49. So $10 savings if you jump in this launch week. You can listen to kind of a compilation of all of the different example performances of the solo arrangement that I've put together. There's a demo video on the sales page. If you go to liveukulele.com, click on the Hawaiian Songs for Ukulele banner, then you will be transported to the sales page. About halfway down, there's a video where I play kind of my rendition of the solo arrangement that we'll learn, and it shows all of the songs. But to give you a better idea and a larger sense, here is kind of the full version of Ua Noho Awa Kupa. This is my rendition of the solo arrangement. It's not going to be exact. I'm improvising a lot. I'm struggling in places. But that's the beauty of Hawaiian music, is that improvised nature where you kind of change things as you go. You express how you're feeling. This is Ua Noho Awa Kupa. So go check it out if you're so inclined. Otherwise, keep listening. I want to share a bit about the backing tracks, because I think that this is a really key part of the experience. A lot of folks aren't here in Hawaii. They can't go to a jam. They don't have a feel already for Hawaiian music. So it's going to feel a little bit intimidating if you don't have some sort of accompaniment to give you your bearings. And so that's what I wanted to create with the backing tracks, is an environment for you to feel comfortable and fun and to be able to experiment on your own time. You know, you don't have a teacher who you're paying to, I mean, kind of, but it's not an ongoing hourly charge or anything, where you can just play the backing track again and again and again as many times as you want to really get the feel of the song, or to try new things. Maybe you played through it and it's the end of the backing track and you had another idea. Well, you can just go back to the beginning and try it again. And so there are 5 songs, but there are 80 backing tracks. So each song has multiple versions of a backing track. Okay. Well, I'll start off. I'll edit in some demonstrations here so that as I'm explaining it, you can kind of hear what I'm talking about. So each song has a full arrangement. So you can hear it's basically just like a recorded song like you'd get off of a CD, except maybe the keys aren't ideal for me singing, because I chose the keys so they'd be nice to play the song on the ukulele, not necessarily things that work super great for my voice. So the vocal performances I'm not super happy with, but I think they should be lovely enough for the purposes of working through the songs. Everything else, I'm really happy with how it came out. It's fun, and they sound really good. But there's a bass version, which is just everything, all the instruments playing at performance tempo. I'll play the backing track for Aloha Kamanini so you can kind of hear what it's about, hear what's going on there. Aloha Kamanini me ka popolo, hei ano hoia I ka laupapa. Aloha Kamanini me ka popolo, hei ano hoia I ka laupapa. So with that version, you have all of the parts. But when you are learning different things, it's really easy to really lean on what's already in the song, right? If you're just playing along with the full song, you don't really have to hold anything up. You can just be kind of drug along by the cadence of the song, by the melody of the song. It's all there for you. So what I've done is I've muted certain parts of the performance and created new versions of the backing track. So as you can hear with that backing track, everything's there. It's like a full song and all the parts are there. You can play along with it. It's great. More than that, though, I intend that the backing track will kind of teach you how that version of the song goes, so that when you go to take parts away or to practice with it, you'll know the arrangement of the songs. How many times you play the intro, how many times you play each verse, where the solos are, that kind of a thing. Each backing track has 2 speeds. There's the performance tempo, like you just heard, but then there's also a digitally slowed down version where I take the performance version and I just slow it down 25%. Okay, and so that's what this is going to sound like. It doesn't sound as pretty. The audio quality kind of degrades because it's digitally moved down, but I think it gives for a more consistent experience outside of playing a whole another set of recordings, which would be really super tedious. This was already kind of a chore to export all these different versions. So this is what the slowed down version is going to sound like. Same kind of idea, just slower. And so outside of that full version, there are 16, I think, different variations that I've created, fast tempo and slow tempo. So there's eight of each. Well, there's 8 of each, but then there's a version with a click track and without a click track. So there's basically 4 different instrumentation versions. There's a version with a click and without a click, and then there's a version that is performance tempo and then slowed down. So there's lots of things to look through, but I've put it all together with a kind of in a folder system where it should be pretty straightforward. You click on the song you want, then you click on whether you want a click track or not, and then you can choose the performance tempo, or vice versa on the click and performance tempo. But it should be pretty straightforward, and then you can choose which instrumentation version you want for, yes, I want to hear a click track, and yes, I want it to be slow. Then you can choose which instrument version you want. It's not as fancy as Soundslice, okay? But it is my way of doing things, and I think that it's still going to be useful, and you can download all these backing tracks. You don't have to listen to them online. You can put them on your computer, listen to them in iTunes or whatever you use, and work with them that way. But say, for instance, you're learning to pick the melody. You've just started a new song. You've listened to some different recordings of it, which I always recommend. I mentioned this in the lessons and on the written overview pages and stuff, but I've included links to performances that I like of each song so that you can hear 3 or 4 different performances of the same song, kind of hear what's similar, see what people change, and get used to the song so that it becomes familiar to you inherently, instead of when you learn the melody or the chords, you're just kind of guessing. It really makes a huge difference, I believe, when you're learning a song, that you know how it goes, that you can hum the melody or you can imagine how it sounds in your head. That makes a huge difference when you're trying to actually put it physically onto the ukulele. Anyways, if you're learning to pick the melody, you can use a backing track that has the vocals removed so that you can take the place of the singer. You can play the melody line and try and emulate the voice. That is a version of the backing track. It sounds like this. Same song, Aloha Kamanini again, only this time it's without the singing. It might sound kind of empty, but that's the whole point. The whole idea is that you will be providing part of what's happening. And so it gives you a foundation so that everything else is there supporting you, but you can practice the part that you're working on. Okay? And so the other versions that come out of the box, there is a version without the ukulele rhythm track. So if you want to practice strumming, you can try and integrate your strumming with the vocals and the bass in there to kind of support you, along with maybe the steel guitar or the ukulele picking part that I've got in there. That's a challenge for sure. Don't jump in if you're a beginner and think that, oh, I'm going to just strum along with this, because there's no ukulele for reference. And unless you're used to playing with a click track or with a bass player, it might be kind of tricky. So that's a little bit more advanced than you might think, but it's there for folks who want to pursue it. Aloha ka manini me ka popolo. Hei ano hoia I ka laupapa. Aloha ka manini me ka popolo. And then finally, I've included a version which is just bass only. If you want to play like a solo arrangement, you could play the chords and the melody together and just have the low end provided by the bass. So I think those are going to be really fun for folks to kind of get a more involved sense of the songs, to really feel like they're participating in the music, and to give you a sandbox to experiment and try things, and to, you know, like I said, not be taking up some teacher's hourly rate, to just really sit and experiment and see what happens if you do this or that, or what if I change my strumming to do this or that. All of these different variations are what are going to bring life to the music. And if you have a sandbox to practice those things in, hopefully a sandbox that's fun, where it sounds like you're really part of the band, and that, you know, that's the whole goal, is that it's like engaging and fun. So if I've piqued your interest, please go to liveukulele.com, click on the Hawaiian Songs for Ukulele banner, or go to the store and you'll see it right up top, and check it out. It's $39 for the launch week. After that, the price will go up $10 to $49. $10 off for the launch week. Grab the deal while you can. And I hope to see you in the lessons. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to hearing how people interact with the music, and I hope that I will see people playing these songs, because I haven't really done a repertoire-based course before. I've had courses with concepts, and then to learn the concept, we learn a song, but never really based on repertoire, based around a set of songs. And so that's what this is. It's very much song-based, and we explore things that the songs themselves kind of provide. So a different angle. I'm curious to hear how folks like that. But I'm also hopeful that we'll have opportunities to do things like virtual recitals, where folks send in their videos, their performances of the songs, or songs that they have arranged in the style of what they learned from the course, that kind of a thing. And we can share kind of how our musicality is reflecting through these different songs. And so there is a forum section on the site that you will have access to as a member of the course. It'll be a great place to discuss kind of general Hawaiian music things, or general concepts of applying Hawaiian music to ukulele. Of course, there are the lesson comments, where you can ask a question on a lesson-by-lesson basis down below at the bottom of the page. That comment section will be great for folks who are unclear on something or want a little bit more details. I'll try and provide some more information down there, and we can learn from each other there as well, because, you know, maybe somebody has a question, but somebody has already asked the question down in the comments. They can see the comment and learn from the other person's experience, and, you know, together we'll all kind of reach that little bit higher level of understanding. So I hope you're inclined to join me in the lessons. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to sharing this concept. This is really the most excited I've been about a set of lessons in quite a while, just because I think that it's kind of different from my normal thing. And also, I know there's a lot of passion for Hawaiian music, and there's not a lot of resources for learning it. So I hope that this kind of fills a gap. And if it goes well, if people are interested, I've been thinking that this would be a very easy thing to kind of expand and just have, you know, Hawaiian Songs for Ukulele Volume 2, and do another 5 songs or another 10 songs or whatever there's interest for. But I definitely am really looking forward to hearing from you folks. If you buy the lessons and you have thoughts about them, I'd love to hear it. Please send me an email, and we will go onwards and upwards from here. The Live Ukulele podcast is published on the first and third Saturdays of every month, except for special edition episodes, which we might be seeing here this launch week. I might throw up a short reminder podcast. But normally, first and third Saturdays of every month. You can subscribe to make sure you don't miss any. Just click the subscribe button wherever it might be on your podcast platform of choice. That way the new episodes get delivered right to your phone or to your computer and you can see them. I always look forward to sharing my thoughts with you folks. Next main episode is going to feature an interview with Brian Liu from Next Level Ukulele. We had a nice chat. He's a Hawaii boy, and he's an interesting guy to talk to. We had a really fun conversation. I had never really met him before, but it felt very familiar, and we talked about some really interesting stuff. So be sure to tune in. That's coming up next. Once again, if you want to learn more about Hawaiian Songs for Ukulele, go to liveukulele.com/store and click on the banner for Hawaiian Songs for Ukulele, or look for the link down in the podcast description. I'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Malama pono, keep the aina ono. Aloha.